Hello, computer scientists. So this is the Unit 5 quiz. This is the description of the two problems. You'll be solving them in coding rooms. I'm going to use Replit, but it's the same thing. The question number 1 says we have to create an addition pattern class. And it should generate a number pattern. So the constructor needs 2 positive integers. The first one indicates the starting number. And the second one indicates the value that is to be added to obtain each subsequent number in the pattern. So for example, if you have a starting number of 2 and an addition number of 3, then the pattern starts at 2, and then it goes 5, 8, 11, 14, and so on and so on. The addition pattern also supports a couple other methods. Current number should return the current number that we're on. Next, which moves to the next number, and previous, which moves to the previous number, except it never goes past the initial value, right? It says it takes no action if there's no previous number. So here's an example. We create an addition pattern, and it starts at 2, and we add 3 every time. So if we create the addition pattern object and then immediately call current number, it starts at 2, so current number will return 2. If we call next, it doesn't return anything. All it does is add one of the addition numbers to the initial number. So if we call current number, at that point, the current number is 5 because we started at 2, then we called next, which adds 3 to it. So the current number now is 5. If we say next again, and then next again, the current number will be 11. Because if you remember, we started at 2 and we're adding 3 every time. So we started at 2, we said next to add 3, so the current number is 5. We said next, and then next again. Now the current number is 11. Then we said previous, so it goes back to 8. Previous goes back to 5. Previous goes back to 2. So we say current number, and it's 2. Here's the tricky part. If you say previous again, it does not go to -1, right? 2 was the starting number. We cannot go below 2. So your assignment was to write the addition pattern class. So this is the main file that you don't really need to change, but you should, because it'll help you test out what you've written in your other 2 files. So if you try to run it right now, it's not going to do anything because it doesn't know how to create the pig Latin or the addition pattern objects. There's nothing in the pig Latin or addition pattern. So since I'm doing addition pattern first and I want to be able to test it, I'm actually just going to comment out this whole pig Latin part here. So now I just have this addition pattern. All right. So I know the class is addition pattern, so I know that it's going to have to look like this. And let me look again at the assignment here. So it only has one constructor, right? This is what it's going to look like, right? The constructor takes 2 positive integer parameters. One is the starting number, and the other is the value to be added. So I'm going to call it start and adder or something like that. Okay. So I'm going to say public addition pattern int start adder. All right. And I know that I'm going to have to store these in my class. So I know I'm going to need 2 private variables. So I'm going to call those start and adder. And so I'm going to say this dot start equals start. So I'm going to make sure that it sets this object's start to what is passed in. And this dot adder equals adder. All right. So at least now I'm able to construct an addition pattern object and store the variables. So let me go back in here. I'm actually going to comment out everything except this constructor and see if it works. All right. Well, at least I don't have any bugs in my code yet. All right. So what's next? I've created the start and the adder. I know I'm going to have to keep track of the current number as well, so why don't I do that next? In my addition pattern, I'm going to need private int current. And so the current number at the beginning, right, is going to equal the starting number as well. Because as soon as I create it, that is, the current number is the starting number. Okay. So I need to create a method that returns the current number in the pattern. So that's just your standard getter. So I'm going to say public int, what was it called? I'm just going to copy and paste this. That way I won't make a typo. It doesn't take any parameters. It's just going to return current. That's all it does. Next, which moves to the next number in the pattern. So all that does is it adds the adder number to whatever the current number is. So it doesn't return anything. So it's going to be a void next. Doesn't take any parameters. And it says current equals current plus adder. Okay, so that's that method. And then previous, and this is the tricky one, it moves to the previous number or takes no action if there is none. So if we're going backwards and we get to the current number, to the starting number, then we don't want to go below the starting number. All right, so public void, was it prev? I think it was. Yeah, prev. So we want to say if current is current is greater than start, then we can say current is subtracted by adder. Minus equals is the same thing as saying this. Okay, so as long as we are greater than where we started, we can subtract that. And that's it. That's all we need. So let's go ahead and test this a little bit. Go back to main. So let's use the one in the example here. So we're going to create one with 2, 3, 2, 3. Then we're going to say current next, current next, next. Current next, current next. next, current, previous, 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 current, it's prev, not previous, prev, and then current, and then it tries to go one more, and it can't. So let's see if it does the same thing that the example does. 2, 5, 11, 2, 2, right? So prints out 2, then 5, then 11, then 2, then 2. So it works, right? It does what it's supposed to. All right, Pig Latin. So the default constructor uses the letter Y as the Latinizer. The overloaded constructor accepts a new string to use instead of a Y as the Latinizer. So we have two constructors for the Pig Latin class. So let's build those first. Go into Pig Latin, and we'll say class Pig Latin. Latin, and we have two constructors, so it's public Pig Latin. One of them takes no parameters, and it said the other one takes a string Latinizer. And so in the default constructor, it said, oh, we need our variable, so our Latinizer is going to be a string. Latinizer, and the default constructor sets it to a Y, and in the overloaded constructor we say this Latinizer equals Latinizer, right? So it gets set to whatever is passed in here. So those are our two constructors. There's two methods. Pigit, which accepts a string. It moves the first letter to the end of the string and then appends the Latinizer and returns the new string. Whoa. Okay. So we're going to assume that they're going to send us more than one character. I think that's a safe assumption here, right? So I know I need to make a method called Pigit. It's going to return the new string. And it takes a string input. And what are we going to do? We got to first letter to the end of the string, appends the Latinizer, and returns the new string. Okay, so we're going to need a new string. I'm just going to call it a new string. And it's going to equal, we need to move the first letter, so a substring from 0 to 1 is going to be at the end. So the first thing we need is a substring from 1 to the end of the string plus input substring 0 to 1. So this is going to be, remember, string position start at 0. So this will be the second character all the way to the end of the input string. We're going to add on the first character, which is substring from 0 to 1, and then we add on the Latinizer. And we can return new string. Or if we wanted to, we could actually do this all, just say return that. That's going to create a new string for us. And then dpigit, which accepts a string, removes the Latinizer, moves the last letter back to the beginning, and returns the new string. Okay, so now we need to public string dpigit, string input, right? And we need to new string equals, okay, so we need to get rid of the Latinizer from the end and then move the last character back to the beginning. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. This is a little bit trickier, right? So we're going to take input substring, right? And we want to go from 0 to the length of the input string minus the length Latinizer.length. Okay. So that's going to give us the string input without the Latinizer at the end. So it's removed the Latinizer, but we still have to move the last character back to the beginning. So I'm going to say new string equals new string dot substring. So we want the last character. So the way we want to do that is new string dot length -1. So that'll give us the last character, and then we want to add on everything up until the last character. So we're basically switching the position of the last character to be the first character. So we're basically going to do new string substring from 0 up to string dot length -1. All right, so just to give you an example, so if it's hello, hey, right, after this new string, we'll take a substring of this from the length minus AY, the Latinizer. So the new string will now just equal hello H. Nope, like that. And then after this line here, it's going to take the H, which is the length -1. So it takes the H and then adds on from 0 up to the H. So hello. So then we can just return new string. So you could do this all in one line if you wanted. I'll leave it up to the reader as an exercise. But let's see if what we wrote actually works. So hello in Pig Latin is Elohe. Elohe in English is hello. Hello in Rofel Pig Latin is Eloherofel. And Eloherofel in English is hello. So basically these just use Pigit and dpigit. And then I used the overloaded constructor with a different Latinizer and did Pigit and dpigit again. So that is the Unit 5 test. I'm not going to go through the optional challenge. If you'd like help doing that, just let me know on Discord. Thanks.